If you can sit down to work, stare at the screen, and feel your focus disappear almost instantly, then this video is for you, because that moment isn't a lack of discipline, it's a system under load. Most people think focus disappears because they're distracted, but distraction is often a symptom and not the cause. The real issue is what your brain is carrying before you even try to concentrate. In this video, I want to show you what cognitive load actually is, why it quietly destroys focus before you even notice, and how to restore clarity without forcing attention. This isn't about trying harder, it's about reducing what your brain is holding. So let's define this properly. Cognitive load is the total amount of information your brain is actively responsible for holding at once. So that includes unfinished tasks, unresolved decisions, emotional weight, expectations, things you're meant to remember. Your brain is not designed to hold unlimited open loops, and focus is not a standalone skill. Focus only exists when capacity is available. This is the part most productivity advice misses. Focus is not something you generate, it's something that emerges when your cognitive load drops below a certain threshold. When load is low, attention stabilises, thinking deepens, distraction fades. When load is high, attention fragments, thinking narrows, distraction increases, not because you're weak, but because your brain is prioritising survival over depth. This is why just concentrate advice backfires. If your brain is overloaded, asking it to focus is like asking a computer to run faster while opening more tabs. The system doesn't respond with clarity, it responds with avoidance or restlessness or checking or switching or procrastination in general. These aren't failures, they're pressure release behaviours. One of the biggest contributors to cognitive load is open loops. Anything unfinished or undefined runs quietly in the background. Your brain keeps asking, have we dealt with this yet? Is this important? Are we forgetting something? Each open loop consumes attention, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. 10 open loops equals 10 background processes. Focus doesn't stand a chance. Under high load, multitasking feels unavoidable, not because it works, but because your brain is trying to reduce pressure. Switching tasks gives short bursts of relief. Each switch feels like progress, but every switch also fragments attention, increases load, degrades focus further. This is how people stay busy while feeling increasingly scattered. Every decision costs energy. What to do next? How to respond, whether to continue. When cognitive load is high, decisions multiply, and as decision fatigue sets in, your focus shortens. Clarity collapses, resistance increases. By the time you reach important work, your brain is already exhausted, not from effort, but from choice. Here's an important distinction. Motivation often remains intact under load. You still want to do the work. What disappears first is focus. That's why you care but can't concentrate. That's why you feel capable but blocked. And it's not self-sabotage, it's cognitive overload. Stress doesn't just add pressure, it reduces capacity. Under stress, working memory shrinks, threat detection increases, attention narrows. So the same workload that felt manageable last week now feels impossible. Nothing changed externally, capacity did. This explains something many people feel ashamed of. Planning feels hard under load, not because you're disorganized, but because planning requires holding multiple variables, comparing options, projecting forward, all high load activities. So when your system is already overloaded, planning adds more weight instead of relief. This is how people end up busy but unfocused. They respond, they adjust, they react, they tidy, they tweak, because those actions feel safer than deep focus. Deep focus requires capacity, and capacity has been exceeded. Here's the reframe from the momentum reset method. If focus is failing, reduce load, don't increase effort. Focus returns when open loops are closed or captured, decisions are reduced, pressure is contained, not when you push harder. Here's a quick check you can use. If focus is failing, ask, is my brain struggling to focus? Or is it struggling to hold everything it's carrying? If it's the second one, no focus technique will work yet. Focus returns when one thing is clearly next, nothing else is demanding attention, and when stopping feels safe. This is why writing things down really helps, why clarifying what done looks like helps, why making decisions early helps. They all reduce load. Starting requires focus, and focus requires capacity. So when load is high, starting feels heavy. Not because the task is hard, but because your system is full. This is why procrastination and cognitive load are deeply linked. Here's something a little counterintuitive. Relief often precedes focus. So when your system feels lighter, attention naturally stabilizes. That's why one closed loop can unlock an entire afternoon. When focus collapses, try this. Instead of forcing attention, ask, what is my brain still holding right now? Write it down, contain it. Define the next step, then notice what happens. Focus often returns on its own. Pillar 1 made starting safe. Pillar 2, which this work is part of, makes focus possible. In Pillar 3, we'll explore pressure and stress and why even low load can feel unsafe under chronic pressure. But focus cannot exist without capacity. So this pillar is non-negotiable. If there's one takeaway, it's this. Focus is not a personality trait. It's a capacity signal. When focus disappears, it's telling you something important. If you've been blaming yourself for not being able to focus, pause. Nothing is wrong with you. Your system is overloaded, and overload is solvable. In the next videos, we'll look at how cognitive load builds without you noticing, why to-do lists often make it worse, and how to reduce load without slowing progress. If you want a structured way to apply this, the Momentum Reset method walks you through it step by step. You don't need more discipline, you need more capacity.